I am going to call our committee of the whole meeting on April 11th at 6 o'clock. In however the word is, I need to say, I'm going too fast. I need to slow down. I'd like to call to order the April 11th, 2022 meeting, and it is 6:15. There's a couple of things I just kind of want to put people into. We've lost everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. Do I have a 1, 2, 3,
You have them, yeah, you got
4,
the
5,
end,
6?
yeah.
Okay, well, I've got a lot of empty squares, so I just wanted to make
Oh,
sure.
there's
Oh,
Rita.
there's Rita. Sorry, Rita, I thought you left me. There's a couple
Just
of,
needed some water.
all right,
Everybody's back.
super, thank you.
Approval. Do we do
No, I just would like to mention a couple of things. Matthew is not feeling well today, and he felt like he would like to have some more thought process and some more stamina. And so he is asked to take number 5, which is the tutoring, off our agenda. He is the one that added that agenda item. So on his request, I am removing that. And the other thing is that we do have a very special guest, and oh my goodness, it is so good to see her, is that we do have Sharon Schicht here to talk about our mentoring program. I don't
They
know
can't
if they
see
can
Donna.
see you.
You want to switch places?
And so,
You good? Yeah, I'm good.
so I would like to, once I get the approval of the COW minutes, I would like to move up the mentoring program so that she doesn't have to sit through all of our discussion. Do I have approval from most people on that?
Yes.
If you could just throw your hands up, Beverly and Jay, that would be great.
And
Or, and
Matthew.
Kat, okay. All right,
Jay said yes.
okay, it looks like I have most people's approval on that. That's great. So, I will make a motion to approve the COW meeting minutes of March 21st, 2022. Can I have a second on that, please?
I'll second it.
Aye. All right, is there any discussion on those minutes?
Yes, Katrina. I've brought this up before and I'm not sure if it just applies to the regular meeting minutes, but the state, I don't think it was a law, but directive with hybrid meetings states that members present should be listed by how they attended. So in person and present
Oh,
hybrid.
Oh, Kat, thank you.
okay. I didn't know that.
You know, I've never heard of that. I
It's
mean,
in the rule if you read it.
it's in our policy?
No, it's the state of Connecticut's policy. When the mandate came down that we were able to have hybrid meetings. I can look up the specific section if you'd like me to.
Yeah, that would be great. Because I
Great.
know at Learn, we don't do that either.
Thank you, Kat, for your diligence on the detail stuff.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing on all those in favor of, and subject to the change for Kat too, right? All those in favor of the approval of the COW meeting minutes of March 21st, 2022, with the possible addition of in-person video. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Oppose? Abstain? That motion has carried. All right, so welcome. I don't know how I can get you.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's
no,
up
because
there.
it's up there.
Yeah. You can wave at the screen and see if we see you waving.
Okay.
she is. There she
So-
is. Hi.
So Sharon Schicht is here, and under a referral request from Matthew, we have just a discussion about the mentoring program. We have not heard about it in a really long time, so it's kind of good to kind of get it back into our forethought. And also, my sense is that COVID has probably changed that quite a bit.
COVID has changed that quite a bit.
Okay,
Can I, it says don't move it. but
then
move
don't.
it. You can move it. We can tape it back up again. Well,
Can I take this off?
You are more than welcome to take it off.
Okay. There we go.
There you go.
Now you might be able to hear me a little better too.
Kim,
Yes.
Kim,
but-
is it possible that Sharon moves next to the superintendent, or is she social distancing?
I've been vaccinated, double vaccinated, all of that.
We
I
can
think-
actually put her closer here. See if you can see her better now.
Beverly,
She's
thank
wearing
you.
purple.
Yep, thank you.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yes, the mentoring program did take a bit of a hiatus due to COVID because Groton Public Schools as a whole didn't have, first, we were closed and no school, so no mentoring. I did get permission for us to try to do mentoring via Zoom, but logistically speaking, that was a nightmare to be able to get the mentee to be able to be somewhere, because that really couldn't take place at home. It needed to take place per the guidelines at school. So we still had to wait for that. And then we couldn't get the mentors and the mentees and the permission, and so that didn't work very well to do that. So I met with Susan and I met with Lori Lapine, and it was decided that yes, the mentors could be back in the school. So then it was trying to get all the permissions, because in order for any mentor and mentee to meet, the mentors have to be trained, fingerprinted, now with the backup caveat to make sure they've been vaccinated against COVID, and also to make sure that central office and human resources has that information. And then it's again making certain that the permissions have been gotten from the mentee, as the mentee's parents has to agree. And right now it's only at the middle school and the high school. We went to go inclusive because the people that are contacting me are the schools for the elementary level and the parents of the elementary level. And then also the mentors of the elementary level. And as for next year, I've got five mentors that would be ready to go for next fall. Does everybody understand what our mentoring program is about?
Maybe give everybody an overview a little bit.
Okay. What it is that the mentor is a caring adult that gives time from a not academic point of view, but social point of view, to bring the mentee's self-esteem up. And that it could be a straight A student, and the only reason why they're straight A is that they're tunnel vision, thinking that the only reason why somebody's going to like me is my grades are good. So they still have a self-esteem issue. They have good grades. They might be involved in all kinds of sports, but not all, and cheerleading or whatever, but not with this right mental awareness about themselves. And
Still comes with
self-awareness.
stress.
It still comes from
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
You can have stress of being in a single parent family, or brand new to the area, death of a parent, grandparent, and or a sibling or something, and all of that gets to you, and you need an outlet. That's what that mentor is for. What we want is for student driven, is for that mentee to ask the mentor for help on the academic level. And we get that, which is what we really, really want. We do have a lot of mentors, and it's happened all through the years, where they wind up being the person that the teacher will talk with. Even though they're not supposed to discuss grades, the teacher will, because the parent is busy at work, busy working 3 jobs, can't get back to the school. Therein lies the problem that I found out that we're having right now is from permissions. I thought we had 3 active matches at the middle school. We don't have 3 active matches right now. And part of the reason is getting that parent permission for the school counselors to get the parent permission, the school counselors lets the building coordinator know that we have the permission. Because I told Susan, yep, we've got 3, they're going. The mentors are all ready. They've done everything they're supposed to do. The middle school has the information, the high school has the information, just waiting for that piece so they can start meeting.
And maybe we need to re-examine our communications around the mentor program to get it out to more of our families so that they understand better. You know, so that it'll encourage them to want to sign up.
That is they love it and they want to sign up. I've gotten phone calls, as I said, all along. I understand it's on hold. When you're going to go back, they get it. The parents understand it, but it's them getting that permission slip. And I've told the school counselors, they said, don't just send it in the backpack with the student, mail it to the parent so they actually get it and receive it and mail it back. Because if you trust that backpack, that's not always the way to go. Because they're not, you know, unless that student says, oh, look, I got this, the parents don't always look at the bottom of that backpack to see if there's a notice from somebody that needs to be signed. Yes.
Sharon, is this, I don't remember. I think I remember seeing it on the website. But is there an explanation up on our Groton Public Schools website about the mentoring program?
Yes.
Okay, I thought that I remembered that, but maybe something we need to refresh it, enhance it, you know, make it pop.
It does need to pop. I check all the websites on a monthly basis to find out if people have it up, if when I broadcast it, send an email out to see if it's up. Some schools are better than other schools about putting it there. Not all the schools are the same about it.
We do have a representative though from each school
We have a
who
representative.
is a
from-
liaison and really tries to work with the mentor and work with the families and
Yeah.
the students to make those connections.
We have a building representative in each building that is the go-between between the families and the program. We also have a steering committee and an executive board on the steering committee. Because I couldn't just arbitrarily start making these plans without having some, I've been involved in politics too much. You know, I just couldn't do it by myself. So we have an executive board. Susan's part of it. The assistant superintendent
Yeah,
is
Dr.
part of
Piazza.
it, as well as Joyce Medling, because she helps do some of those things that I need done, so she's part of it. And by virtue of them being principals and assistant principals, they are automatically on the steering committee. Every one of them are on it. And the building representatives, there should be 2. One that is the coordinator in the building and one that can attend the meetings. Because if you have a steering committee meeting, but then your rep is also the building coordinator and they can't leave, then you have no quorum for the meeting.
Right.
then it doesn't happen. That's also why we made the executive board. And this next school year is the 25th year of the mentoring program. So we need to do something big.
Maybe we need to bring some of the staff that works on communication, or maybe even the communication committee from the Board of Ed, with some folks to say, how do we rebuild this and get the information out in a big way? Kim just mentioned Facebook, but maybe having a face on the website and getting the information out to folks. And really, because we'll be able to do the elementary next year.
Yes, and I've also spoken with Miranda Chapman at the Navy base, so it's getting back around at the Navy base. I've spoken with the Mayor Keith Hedrick about getting a meeting with him so that I can get more city employees to be mentors. I had that before, and I'm going to be talking with the Eastern Connecticut Chamber of Commerce so that I can do a little meeting with them again to say that the mentoring program is back and can you send some people our way.
Beverly?
Thank you, Kim.
Absolutely.
Nice to see you again, Chairman. I'm glad to see that you're still involved.
Oh,
my
thank you.
My question to you, and I hope Joey's doing well, so tell Joey I said hi.
I will.
My question is, what do you specifically need from the Board of Education? How can we help you?
How you can help is to make certain that the word gets out, that it's back and running, and that it gets out not just to the schools, but that we get it out, as Susan was saying, to the community more. Because I've spoken with some people and they go, oh, we haven't heard anything for a while. Yep, that's because of COVID. We're up and running now. Are you sure you're? Yes, I'm sure we're up and running. So that's mostly it. There is a manual. I'm in the process of redoing the manual to make certain each piece is up to date. We have Susan's letter now that says that the superintendent of schools backs this program, and the program is going to be 25 years.
Right.
That's a long time for a
There
program.
might even be a way that we can have some kind of electronical, input where families could sign on and we can make it a little more accessible for them. So I think if we brought the right team of people around, have all these good ideas, that I think we can really make it special for the 25th year.
Yeah, I've also had a thought of having former mentors possibly come, and we have like some
Yeah.
celebration or something and have former mentors be there. Board of Ed members can be mentors. We've had several. Do you remember Don Pan, who was a Board of Ed
That was
person?
before my time.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I remember him, Sharon.
But Beverly, Don went up, I believe it was to Maine. And he contacted me because he wanted to have a mentoring program start where he lived. So he had people there contact me and I helped them so they didn't have to like jump over hoops. So they started a mentoring program based upon our mentoring program. And in the state of Florida, one of our former school nurses moved down to Florida. They now have a mentoring program based upon our mentoring program here. I've had Navy personnel who have been here, who have moved to places in Virginia and places in Washington, DC, and they've contacted me to start mentoring programs there. I believe it's Derby, Connecticut, sent 5 people.
Yeah, I remember that.
Came all the way here to get training from our mentoring program. They now have a mentoring program based upon ours.
So we need
Um,
some PR.
Yep,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a communications issue and getting things reignited after COVID.
yep,
Absolutely.
yep.
So we.
Well, I'm all in favor of a mentoring program, Sharon. So if I can do anything personally to help out, I'd be willing to do whatever I can. But I think a mentoring program is
That
excellent.
it's back up and running. I do individual mentor trainings. And then I do larger trainings. If the need arises, like if I've got a lot of people that want to do it, then I'll set up a larger one at this moment because of how COVID's been doing. But I do the other way, like if the Navy base wants a mentor training, then I'll do a mentor training there. If after I meet with Mayor Hedrick, and if he wants some mentor training, a new mentor training, then I'll do one for the city there. And I can always set one up at the at one of our schools. And I could set one up at the library. The library has had 2 or 3 of them now.
Matthew, what's your questions? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to make the hopeful guess that everybody had a chance to read what was apologize, what I was going to read, and unless FOI requires that I read it aloud or we put it in the minutes, I'll just trust that you've read it. But I did, I'm believe in the program. We've just been hit by the virus. And it is so discouraging, not the discouraging with the personnel, just discouraging with the situation, that we've gone from 100 or so mentors to 5. And so I do have a couple of questions. And I don't know if the person to answer them is Susan or Sharon. I'll let you guys sort that out. But what do we need to do so that we can have at least 25 mentors lined up to start this fall? I mean, that may not be enough, but at least it's a good start. And if we only get 18, we at least we're going after a bunch. I didn't hear Pfizer mentioned. There are some other small industries in town. That's, you know, can we identify more groups that of course is sources? Would it be appropriate for Sharon or for Susan or for somebody from the communication committee to go with Sharon and meet with the Lions for lunch and meet with the Elks for whatever we meet with the Elks for, and say, you've always supported us. Here's where it's not the system that needs help. It's really the kids. Could you help us find some mentors and actually go and press the flesh? What else? What other resources beyond what we've done in the past could be useful? The amount of work Sharon has to do now is so much more than she had to do before COVID, because she's resurrecting a program that she'd had in good shape for a long time. I'm not recommending, I'm just simply asking, do we need to look for a half-time or increase her hours to get some more support for the mechanics of doing this? That I don't have a solution. All I have is questions, but I'm so grateful to see the support from the superintendent. I knew it was there. I just want to get it done. Just I'm an outcomes guy, just want to get it done. Would outreach help with the permissions? I understand, I don't know this to be true, but I was told that during COVID, when we were closed, we had kids who weren't attending remotely, and the people actually went out to try to, you know, get them back in to participate. Is there some way that some kind of outreach can be done? We identify that Tommy Jones or Tanisha White's family hasn't responded in 3 weeks to our email. Maybe somebody can call up and just chat with them. So what kind of resources do we need? How do we do it? And most of all, how can the board help if you want it? Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Matt.
I can answer part of that. When I go to the Chamber of Commerce, there's a function that they have that I wind up meeting a whole bunch of different people, and then I can get on their list. That's how I've done it in the past, is I get on the Elks list and I get on this person's and that organization, and then they contact me to let me know when is a good time to go there. I've been to different breakfasts and state my case. I've gone to the Groton Utilities function that they hold like in the summertime. And with a table, they've got different organizations and I get a bunch of different people that way. And then it's just a case of setting up the training. And then like right now, I've got, several mentors that are just waiting for the parents to get their permission, and then the matches will be active. And I've got 5 people already lined up for in the fall. So that part, I think, as long as we can get to the different organizations and set up the meetings, that part will kind of take care of itself once we get it back rolling again. Because that winds up being easy to do.
I will recognize Dean.
Thanks. So I'm trying to get a picture.
Can you all hear Dean?
I can move closer.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear him, Susan.
Okay, he's going towards the
You
microphone.
want to hear me anyway. So is it necessary to sort of recreate this? Because what the numbers that I'm hearing are, we used to have this many. and now
Yeah, we
have
had
this.
100 and some odd.
Right.
You figure 10 mentors per school.
Right. So,
And-
and we were fine up until a couple of years ago, and then the whole thing went. just
We
vaporized.
had gone all the way down to 12, and then we were working ourselves back up. We had gotten to 18,
Okay,
and then
COVID.
COVID hit.
okay, so it was already, we got from a large number down to a very much smaller number, and then COVID was the coup de grace, basically.
Right.
For the program, okay. Because what I was thinking was, gosh, if we had 100 before, relatively recently, sounds like a naive question, but where did they go? Can't you find them and bring them back, kind of things? Is the problem finding the mentors or generating the interest for mentorship on the part of students, or both?
It's both.
Okay,
Mhm.
so.
And then the other, as Susan said, it's making certain that the parents, they know that this is here. And I know that one of the things Miranda Chapman does is, because she is the school to whatever liaison, to the military family, what she does is she lets them know that, hey, there's a mentoring program that's here in Groton Public Schools if you're interested. And she gives the families one of my pamphlets right off the bat, and then they'll call me. And she does that for the active duty military person as well.
So what happened, do you think, to cause us to go from a golden days of 100 or so mentors down to 12? Is there something that should be addressed there that happened, or is it just cyclical that happens?
It just happens. It literally happens. Part of it is mentors move away and mentees move away. So then the mentor, we try to place them with another mentee in our school district. And then every once in a while, that mentor moves away. And it just so happened that everything was kind of hitting at the same time. But that is one of the reasons, like, I'm going back a few years ago, we had a student that had gone from Fitch Middle School to West Side Middle School, to Cutler Middle School, all in the space of the 3 years, this kid, each grade. Come to find out, living out of a car. And then finally got into a home, wound up in a different school. That's one of the things meant having a mentor, you find out the little things that are going on.
Yeah, they're not so little though. but
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were able to address things on a different level once we found certain things out. But then that's a different child. Everything was going great. All of a sudden, Christmas break hit. The parents decide to move into a different district. We've got a mentor, no mentee, the mentee's out here. And I contacted that school district and I said, hey, can we do a one-time closure? They've been together for 4 years. Can we do a closure? And they said yes. So they allowed our mentor to go out there, do a one-time goodbye thing. But then it brought that district in to wanting to have a mentoring program. So now Norwich Public Schools has a mentoring program based upon our mentoring program after they saw how good it can do. And we also had a thing with Grosso Tech, which we need to get the thing with Grosso Tech back. Because if we've got our students that have had a mentor, say they get matched in first grade, and then they've had the same mentor all the way up. And then that student decides to go to Grosso Tech instead of going to Fitch High School, then that mentor, we used to have a relationship to where the mentor could go to Grosso Tech as well. I knew the dean of students there, and we had contacted their attorney there, and they said that that was something that they could do. So we were then allowed to have the Groton Public Schools mentor meet with the student at Grosso Tech.
But the bottom line is you're kind of starting from scratch.
In a way, yeah.
The wells we've gone to have
I was
sort of dried
playing.
up. Okay.
And I do know that he said Pfizer, Electric Boat, Pfizer, they're all still interested. I can talk with Groton or Chelsea Groton Bank and see if it was something that they'd be interested in doing.
I think you're right. I think it's PR. People are not aware. They have to be made aware, and then you
We
trust-
used to have this great big huge sign. I don't know if everybody remembers it. I'm sure Beverly does. It said Groton Public Schools Mentoring. It was, it used to belong to the school district, and we would put it up during January when National Mentoring Month happens, and everybody would see the sign and it went across the street in front of where Groton Utilities is on Paquonic Road. And we don't know where the sign went to.
I think somewhere along the way, no, stop. Somewhere along the way, we have to explain to people, provide explanation to people who might be interested. If we think mentor, it could mean any number of things to
Right.
people who haven't been through the program before.
Right.
So you're going to have to probably allay some fear.
That's true.
Or at least be open about the time commitment, what's involved, one way or the other.
1 hour a week
You gotta
each
sell it to
week.
people. Yeah.
1 hour a week each week during the school year on school property.
Because if you would just say, we need mentors, people think, I'm not sure what that is, and then they never come back to that
And
question.
sometimes they think the mentoring is tutoring, and they're two
Right,
different
exactly.
things.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Right.
it sounds to me that we have a golden opportunity with the 25th anniversary coming up for the mentoring. So what are next steps? If I can be so bold to ask Sharon and Susan, like what are the first steps? What are the next steps?
Well, the first step currently right now is I continue what I'm doing at the moment is contacting all of the mentors that we've had before, find out who can continue, who can't continue, what do they need to from us in order for them to continue.
Okay.
Because one gentleman, God bless his heart, he's having health issues right now, but he desperately wants to continue, and he said he'll be ready to continue in the fall. And somebody else said, I didn't know we were going to be coming back this year. If I'd have known, I wouldn't have volunteered doing what I'm doing. Let me finish that up and I'll come back to mentoring.
Okay.
So to get people that we've already had, that's something that I can do. I can get new people once we hold a bigger, more global new mentor training to where I can get several. And then that's just the thing in making certain that they've done their stuff and they get their background check
Right.
done. And I have a new person all lined up in human resources that I'm going to be working with.
Oh, good. So there's some, there seems to be
There's
some
some
stream.
in-house things that we've got.
Yeah.
So I can even see bringing the communication team and bringing Sharon in with Lori and I. But I can also see it going to the communications committee from the Board of Ed
Yeah.
to really talk about how do you make the 25th something that everybody understands, and that, so parents' fears may be a little alleviated, that they really do go through this vetting process and they go through a training process. So,
They have a background check.
Right.
Everybody's got to have
Super.
the background check. Everybody's got
They're-
to be.
they
Right.
mentored typically in the schools in an open area where, they're playing a game. So it really, for some kids, it's kind of a decompression, they are able to chat with their mentor and play a game and kind of take a break.
And speaking of games, we got donated, I think like almost 20 different games of different
Yeah,
ages.
I heard that.
Cool.
And I thought that was really, really terrific
Yeah,
that we got donated all of that.
that's wonderful.
And there's a list, and the building coordinators know that they're there,
Mhm.
and all they have to do is come and get it. And
They're
once
right
it-
here at the central office.
right at the central office, and they can come check them out and keep them at their school, and then when they're done with them, they can bring them back.
Sharon, thank you so much. Is there any other questions from the board? Matthew?
Yeah, I guess this one is for Susan. Or I guess it's for all of us. I would like to if the board concurs, I would like us to communicate informally to Susan that if there is some small cost involved, that we can apply some ARP-ESSER funds so we don't have to postpone this till next year. I mean,
So
we're not
actually-
looking,
Sorry.
please go ahead. You
Well,
understood.
actually, there are funds for the mentoring program, a stipend for Sharon, and then additional funds that are in one of the title grants. So we do actually, have funds that we could use.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
All right. There's no other questions. Sharon, thank you so much for coming in.
It was
Thank
good to
you.
see you.
Good
You
to
look
see
great.
you too.
Yeah.
Good to
It's a-
see you too.
All right.
Do you have to get Stevie to come pick you up or?
He's here, he's just out in his car.
Okay.
He told me to text him to let him know when I was ready.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you,
Thanks,
Sharon.
Oh,
And
you're
we'll be in
welcome.
touch. We'll get the group together after the spring break.
Yes, after
Okay,
spring break
yep.
and, yep.
And we'll- Yep.
All right. So what is, do you have questions for Sharon?
No, I
No.
just wanted to say, Sharon, thank you, and give Joey a hug.
I will
know.
give Joey a hug, and I let him know that you guys were all thinking about him.
Yeah, please do.
I know he misses all of you greatly. He just recently had a set of back shots recently again. But the good part is that his prostate cancer that he had is gone.
Yay.
And that's in remission, so that's a really good thing, and that's all been taken care of.
Oh, my goodness. Well, send us our best. Katrina,
You will add that to the referral list for the communications committee?
already done.
Yeah, I don't think we're on that referral list yet, unless it's been
No.
added since this last one came out.
Nope, it hasn't, because we were going to talk about it today, which is, we are going into that agenda item now. So this kind of came from a conversation in a committee of the whole. But it is about the referral list and about the monthly list. We have not really kind of taken a look at it or spent much time. It has gone through different versions forever. And so I just figured we would spend a couple of minutes kind of taking a look at that, thinking about that, taking things off. And or if people have an idea about how to do this better, I am all in for that conversation.
Can I just ask what the initials FCM for action mean? I'm sorry, I don't get the,
Future committee meeting, it's down below. On the second page, on below the table, it says FCM equals future committee meeting.
thank you.
You
Thank
got
you.
it. Kat,
Oh, I was gonna ask if the camera could be tipped so I could see Dean.
well,
No.
Okay,
I,
You'll be better for that.
okay, that's fine. Would now be the time to request items to be removed from the referral list, or are we talking in general?
Rita, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, we're not talking about the referral list, right? Are we talking about the meetings templates
No.
or the referral list?
I put both of those together
Right.
in the agenda, right?
Okay,
So it's the procedure review and A and B. So I'm comfortable with being flexible about moving back and forth. I find that this is we go through our meetings and it gets to be really later and we just kind of not rush through it, but is there a better one? Is there a better system? Two, if not, how can we make it more robust? It goes back to Dean. I also feel like Dean brought up a very good point, which is we do this during that we really should be attaching and looking at the referral list at our regular board meeting versus our committee of the whole meeting. And I think Rita, maybe it was also when Beverly was around, that we moved it to the committee of the whole more because we had more energy versus having it at the end of a regular board meeting is what I sort of remembered. So we did that out of convenience, and I don't think that that's the word I want to use, but that's what came out of my mouth.
right.
Rita, that was a long answer to a very simple question.
Well, anyway, I think it's fine at a committee of the whole because we have a little more time for discussion. But I would love to go over the referral tracking sheet and see what should be removed.
Okay, all right.
We do it in committee too, don't we? Review it in committee.
Do the people, Catherine, Catherine, Kat, if I can just finish this thought and then I'm going to recognize you, do each one of the chairs of the committees, do you go over the referral list in each of your meetings?
I do.
Okay, so
We
I
will,
hear Liz
yeah.
does. And
We'll
obviously,
start doing it.
okay, and Andrea, I saw you for a second.
Yeah, yes, we do, and we, it's issue, we have the review.
Okay, Andrea, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
No, No,
Well,
I'm
you know
not.
what, when you don't face the computer screen,
Oh.
your speakers don't pick it up.
I stand corrected, thank you. So we're keeping the review of language arts, because we don't have any information, sufficient information anyway. And it seems to me that we took off
Are you talking about curriculum?
Yes. No, we're talking about policy.
Oh, policy,
Yeah,
sorry.
so electronic, that's new. The protection of undocumented students. I believe we took that off, Susan, didn't we?
I'm looking for,
It's,
I think so, and also
third
the,
one down under
yeah.
policy.
and we also took off examination grading. If that's, isn't that true?
I wasn't sure who brought that up and what was intended by that one.
Well, we're meeting tomorrow. Why don't we get a better grip on this?
Okay,
All right. Is that all right with you, Kim?
Hey, once again, this is a document, this is a document that we use. And so I just wanted to make sure that it meets people's needs.
Yeah.
And that we're doing what we need to do. Dean, you have slid up here a couple of times. And so he has not, I know, Kat, you have your hand up. I'm just recognizing someone who has not spoken on this topic yet.
No, it's just fun to roll around the room. I don't get to do that.
Really, chairs.
I brought this up before. This is not with respect to specific items. The question that I had has to do with workflow in an organization like ours.
I'm having a hard time hearing Dean.
You are? I'm
Yeah.
right here too. Wow.
Can't see you, sorry.
Can you read lips? Because if you can, then I'll move within sight, but otherwise I'm not really worth a look. And the microphone's right in front of me, but I presume it's working. So
Now it's louder, so thank
now it's
you.
louder? Okay, I can be pretty loud if I want to be. The body that matters, the legal body, is the Board of Education. From the Board of Education, it gets to create committees, which we know of. We have a standing committee of the whole, which is the same 9 people. We have subcommittees of smaller numbers of people, and we can create ad hoc committees. Typically, what happens is that the body, the deliberative body, in our case, the Board of Education, would commit a matter for further discussion if it doesn't want to handle it itself at its own meeting, in our case, our regular meeting. We can deliberate all these things at our regular meeting, but as was pointed out, it would take forever and a day to do it all in one meeting. We would have several regular meetings during the month. That's legit too. But we have to have at least one. So what we do is we commit issues, we commit matters to one or another committee. And so the business is generated by the Board of Ed, and we commit it. That's why they're called committees. You never hear the word committor because it's kind of awkward, but they're committees because something's been committed to them. And my concern was, not a great concern, because all the committee work is transparent. We're not doing anything behind closed doors. The question I would have is, where's the business generated? As I said, typically the business would be generated at the board level, and it would commit something specific, or maybe even an area to research, to one of the committees, COW or finance or curriculum or what have you. And I noticed that once in a while, the committees themselves would come up with things to talk about, would come up with topics. I could be wrong, and that may be part of our rules. I've got to go back basically to the 9,000s to see what our rules of procedure are. Maybe our committees are allowed. So I'd like to visit the question of, where is the business generated? How does it go out? How does it come back? Do we like the way it's done now? That's why I've been mentioned in the past, because I'm just looking at it as a sort of a noob, which is, without regard to a rules of procedure, I just assume that all the business is generated at the board level. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that answers some of the confusion, some of the clutter that we have. So, I mean, enlighten me, the matters that we have on this referral list, are they all generated by the board itself? Or are some things grown from the committees because, hey, we're the curriculum committee, let's think curriculum things to talk about. You see the distinction?
we used to have initials, so when it was referred to on the board level, you'd have people's initials on there. I'm not seeing that so
Yeah,
much
they're
anymore.
down the, like the very first one.
Oh, yeah, I see
Under-
some of them,
yeah.
especially under the COW. Policy often comes because of law that has been passed. And then it's mandated that the school district has to come up with a policy, like the gifted and talented is coming up based on the July 1 date. So some of that comes to us through CABE. And we have to,
So that
Add
hits
that.
policy first before it hits the, we don't typically have the board say, we've heard we need to adopt a policy. Hey, policy committee, figure that out. It starts with a policy committee, which then makes a
well,
recommendation.
sometimes it comes to the board's attention.
Yeah.
The CABE does all kinds of work with boards around policy and things, legislation that's coming. And I've sent you all out some things that are happening now
Mhm.
in legislation to be mindful of. So,
I mean, it comes to the same thing in the end. I'm not hearing anybody complaining that how we generate business, who generates business, because this can be, in a public body especially, a contentious matter with respect to members of the public who are worried about or concerned with what gets on the agenda, who puts it there, who's really doing the generating of the business. Frankly, there's a ton of business to do anyway. I don't think anyone's got time for any of that stuff, but I'm not hearing any complaints like that. So I think whether the policy committee thinks it's something to talk about or the BOE refers it to the policy committee to talk about, at the end of the day, only the board votes on things anyway. I'm just thinking, do we have an understood, clear set of where the business flows out and comes back to? You've got a policy thing out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the referral process, it's number E under rule, I would assume 3.7. Under 3.7. The board will establish and maintain a list of items for future committee or Board of Education discussion action. All topics of items referred to a committee or board for future discussion action should be submitted in writing to the board chair to be reviewed and distributed to all board members. Items added to the referral list will be discussed at a time to be determined or dropped by consensus of the Board of Education.
The other thing I'm thinking about, now that you mention that, is this. Do we have a situation where matters are referred to one of the, not the COW, but one of the other committees? And they deliberate, they chew on it, and then make a recommendation. Have you ever seen it go to the COW and then go to the
Yes.
board?
Yes.
yeah,
That's a question, I'll be honest, that's a question we had at the council many years ago, which is, we would have the subcommittees, and then they would report to the COW, and there'd be more discussion, and then they would report to the council as a whole for the vote, if there was to be a vote on something. And there was a lot of thought, well, why go through two steps? If the finance committee or public safety committee says, well, we've talked about this, let's bring this to the town council. Because the COW is the same 9 people. So would it simplify things, or does it just add to the burden? If we would have, for example, the finance or policy or curriculum committee say, we've got a wonderful idea, we thought about this, we make the following recommendation, skip the COW, go right to the board. It's the same 9 people.
that has happened.
I think that has happened. I think sometimes the reason why it would go from committee to committee of the whole to board is that sometimes it's just been really helpful for the board to understand all the information that they're going to then vote on, because it's going to have a huge impact. And so what has happened is that you have the small committee come up with an idea or recommendation. It goes to the committee of the whole, and the committee of the whole, they add more questions or they get clarification or whatever, so that when the board hears it for a vote, the membership has heard all the information, not just a small group. But we try also not to waste time. So I think that, and Jay, I would love for you to chime in on this, is that we've been trying very hard. I know, Kat, I'm just talking about this current conversation. Is this part of this? Okay. I think that we've done all that, but we've also tried not to beleaguer many items. But I think if it's a huge item, I personally have liked it to go through a couple of different then used to make sure that everyone on the board is comfortable with what is being proposed, so that when we get to the vote makes sense.
See, the question I have there, I don't want to monopolize this, but the question I have there is, so sometimes it can go from one of the other committees straight to the board. And sometimes, because if it's a quote, big enough question that people want to chew on some more, it can go through the cow and then go to the board. But what you have there is a rather arbitrary distinction that's made somehow. It could be made by you, it could be made by consensus or silence, that some matter could be chewed on a couple of times before it gets to the board, but other matters, they don't get that second shot. It's from finance straight to Board of Ed. And maybe that needs to be tightened up a little bit. What's the criteria for going to two-step as opposed to the one-step?
Well, since we have a 9,000 committee going on right now, Dean, that's a good thing. Kat?
Let's add that to the list.
I just wanted to note that there was a group looking at the 9,000s, and to reassure Dean that this is one of the rules that is going to be closely looked at in order to streamline the process and make it as simple as possible, and see if we have actually been following the rule that is in the rules right now, and if it's effective and all that stuff.
Thank you, Kat.
And that'll be coming to committee of the whole for further discussion or comment if necessary.
Of course.
Rita?
Hi, I feel that the Curriculum Policy and Finance Committee can manage their own referral tracking sheets, but I would like to go over now the COW one, and that's, since we're at a COW meeting, to see what is still relevant and what should be removed, because it's quite long.
Okay, so Rita, what I hear you saying is that maybe one of the ways of making this not so wieldy is that when we do the referral tracking sheet, we just do the committee of the whole referral tracking sheet and let curriculum do their bit, let policy do their bit, and
That's
finance
not
and
what I'm
facilities.
saying.
Okay.
I still would like to see everything listed. I'm just saying
Yes.
right now, I would like to go over the COW tracking sheet and see what is relevant and what should come off. Because policy and curriculum and finance do their own. And we decide at a meeting when something's brought up where it should go. But right now, I really feel that we should go over the COW tracking, because it goes to the second page, and see what is still relevant for us to have on this. Some say ongoing, which I totally agree with.
Okay. I just was
So-
getting clarification about when in a future COW, when we were looking at the referral tracking sheet, that we actually just kind of stay to the committee of the whole, and maybe the chairs can report out onto the different subcommittees, but that we absolutely
Right.
look at the committee of the whole.
Right. Can we
Okay.
do that today?
Rita, I'm moving us there. Yes.
Great.
All right.
I have a quick question.
Liz got a question though.
All right, I just wondering, is there I guess the term is statute of limitations? How long does somebody get something on this list? Does it have to stay on until it's taken off by the board, or is there, is there a time limit? That's, I guess, my question. Is there a time limit? Because you've got things on here from 2017. And there's some of us that weren't even on, a lot of us weren't on this board in 2017. So, what if, 2018, 2019? Is there a time frame, and is that something we should consider adding to the, when we have the tracking?
That's a really good question.
It just seems like.
And can I add something too? I think that if it's something that's going to be ongoing or something we want to revisit over the year, like discussion of student achievement by subgroup, review of report cards, things that would happen, the DEI committee updates, those we could put on the tracking sheet that, or the meeting template.
Yeah.
Meeting template. And space those in the time frame that we would receive the data and could communicate that out to the board. So there might be some things on the tracking sheet that should actually go to the template.
All right, that's a good idea. Let's see if we can do it. All right, so the first one is referral number 18, which was initiated in 2018, which is discussion of student achievement by subgroup. And that's considered an ongoing. That seems like that would be a perfect thing to put to our monthly template.
I agree, and I was actually going to remove that.
So, but we
But I
can,
want to put it on the calendar a couple times when I would get the information back so we could share it with you. And you
Yes,
might have noticed that we are trying to do a better job disaggregating the data, whether it's attendance data, discipline data, academic data. So we're really trying to do a better job with that.
so when would where would that fit on the template?
I think it's gonna fit on different times of year. I think when we get back to school, for instance, we'll be getting in the SBAC data, the NGSS, and that takes us a couple months because we do, we break it apart a little bit, so it's not all in one night. And then lost links data occurs, and then the looking at the discipline data, we can do a couple times a year. So I think if we space it out, then it'll be like a little bit of a data walk each month, but for different pieces of data.
all right. Rita, do you have your hand still up?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, I don't know if you want to go to 8, which is yours, Kim. I believe that we really need to have that discussion, and I would like that ASAP, not just ongoing, but we haven't really had a discussion about our approach to the transition academy and the need for an alternative high school. That's budget related, but I do feel that it says ongoing, but I don't remember really having a deep discussion about that.
I think that it was recorded not exactly how I had stated. That this is the regional, what I had in mind was for us to look at a regional program for students who have significant mental health issues that are prohibiting them to be successful in either a middle school or in high school, but don't necessarily meet the criteria for behavioral health, which I would see more of an externalizing behaviors.
Yep.
And that
This is
conversation.
what I'm saying. I would like to have that discussion. I would like to have that on the agenda. And I know it's not written. I remember when you brought this up, but when it says ongoing, I'd first like to have that discussion before it's even listed as ongoing.
All right, so I can move that, and I reported out at the last regular board meeting because the movement has already been made with a conversation with the director of Learn.
So Kim, does that mean we'll be talking about this item at the next board meeting or by the end of the year? The end of the school year? I don't understand what you're saying. It froze.
I think people are trying to figure out what dates, maybe assign dates that this is something we want to do this in, actually maybe have it in 2 places. This is my interpretation, have it someplace here as well as here.
That seems, but I don't know if people heard what Liz said, but maybe one of the things that when we add something to the referral tracking list is that we have the date initiated, but maybe we need to kind of say, is this a topic that needs to be done ASAP? Is this a meeting that is this a discussion that needs to happen by the end of the school year? in the summer. I mean, actually, that kind of makes sense, instead of like putting an actual date, but maybe saying like like it's timely. So we don't get lost and we don't have these 2017, 2018 referral items.
Maybe say quarterly, or give it, instead of ongoing, to be a little more specific. Just a thought.
We can, for this issue about this high school that was mine, that was brought up, we can make sure that meeting gets reported out in board notes so that you guys know that things are happening. But I'll make sure that in probably maybe in June, we can begin to have that conversation. There's no time, there's like, it has just been put on Learn's radar. And they seem to have needed a lot of processes that they had to kind of go through as well.
Right. But that's still different than Groton having, again, an alternative high school. That's a separate, to me, that's separate.
Right.
And, you know, I would love to see an alternative high school. It was cut, it was a budget cut a number of years ago, but I'd love to see that come back to Groton. There are children that really need that. And I believe that there's federal money that could support that program.
Okay, so I see that referral question in two different ways. And so maybe what we need to do is I hear you asking for a referral question to talk about the alternative high school in Groton.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
there is a program though. There is a program. So maybe even if the board hears about the program that we have and how the kids are doing, so you can kind of note what is being done.
Right. And also, like, my next one is the review of report cards. I would love to know what our elementary schools and our middle and our high school are doing now with report cards. You know, at one time we used to have a presentation. There was a very big, you know, when all the report cards were revised. But as a board member, you know, rather than have this language for 2 years, I would really like to have this sometime on the agenda and hear from teachers about, and administrators, what is our report card process, middle, high school, and elementary.
I think the last time we did that was when we really reconstructed the standards-based report card. If you remember, it was probably a couple years ago before COVID. And so we could certainly do that. You know, I'm almost wondering if that would be a template item to kind of review.
Maybe.
But I think before it becomes a template, we need to have a presentation. I don't want it just to be a template. I'd love to have that conversation with teachers about the report cards. Are they relevant still? Things have changed.
Well, and I think that's the whole point of the template, is that we bring teams of teachers and administrators together to present to you on these different things.
Do you want a one-time shot, Rita, or do you want this to be
Yes,
done?
it's a one-time thing.
Yes, it
that I've
doesn't
been
need to be the
All right.
asked before.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
See, I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
disagree, because I think a one-time shot, but I think that every time there's a new board, they need to be, this is maybe part of their onboarding, is you know, a presentation of, you know, what is going on in Groton Public Schools. So maybe every 2 years, that's something that, because we have changeover. So just an idea.
Mhm.
Because you did it last time, and I've been now, this is my 3rd year, and I still don't know what the board, what the report cards look like.
The elementary, you weren't here when we did that?
Nope.
I was thinking it was just 3 years ago.
All right, the next one, discussion of STEM Masters for Diversity.
I don't know what that is.
Right, and the residency, but we've never had a discussion about this. This is all about diversity, and you know, you could include that though in the DEI committee.
Okay.
So we can remove that as long as it goes to the DEI committee. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
and put it on the template, from tracker to template. When we kind of review the progress of the DEI committee.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so the next one is also discussion review of the work of the DEI committee should be on the template. So
Yeah.
that that should be a regular sort of thing for us.
Right.
Okay, so discussion of the cost of AP and IB tests and who pays for them.
Right.
Do you still want that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a budget item. We could have that in October,
So how about if we do this
November, December.
on the tracking sheet?
Mhm.
Like, can't we say, instead of having it say ongoing, can we just say, needs to be discussed by November or December of 2022?
Well, it's all part of the budget. So whenever you talk about the budget, that's just all part of it.
Okay,
Budget discussion.
It's a budget.
as part of the budget.
Yeah.
And so the implementation of one card, one community, I believe that is an in-house thing that's happening between Clint and the library committee. Is that correct, Matthew?
Thank you for asking. At the last two library board meetings, I was asked what the status is with the school. Maybe I misunderstood, but my impression is they're ready to go, and I don't know what conversation. Maybe the superintendent can help us.
It's really about student data privacy, which Clint is overseeing. There's laws in Connecticut. So we're trying to figure out how to get this data and how to get it approved so we can send it legally over. So I know that Clint is working with the libraries on that, but I will ask him. And I know Amy McKenna has been very much on board with this, trying to make this happen.
So let me ask a question. It's going to be brought up again at Wednesdays, the third Wednesday meeting. I've lost track of where we are. I think we're on the second week. The third Wednesday, we have our board meeting. It's going to be on the agenda again. Would you like me, or would you like to speak to Jen to arrange for somebody from the district to share the process with the library board?
I will ask Clint and Amy. It is school vacation, but Clint is going to be around next week.
Okay, well, if you want me to speak to Jen, you'll let me know. Otherwise, I presume you'll get it done.
All right, moving on.
Kim, can you please describe the one card, one community?
Absolutely, Beverly. So this was actually been in the works for several years, actually even before COVID. The goal was actually the student ID card that each of our students have could then also be used at the Groton Public Libraries. And so it's the one card, the one library, one thing. And what's been the holdup is, once again, as Susan had stated, is the student data stuff.
So this student data stuff is on their ID? Is that the holdup?
It
Yeah.
is, but the library needs to have all of that data. So it's about having to give the library student data, but getting permission, because the law says we can't give away any student data to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Clint was really trying to work through that.
Is the purpose of this to get more students library cards? Or is it-
Yes, and for them to remember their library number and to have a swipe that they could use at the library. They can also get books that are online. So it would give kids more access to books and reading.
And it'll also provide some depth for research, because they'll be able to get interlibrary loan. They'll be able to tap into some databases that the school library media centers may not have.
So Susan, are you finding that the majority of our students do not have library cards? Is that the problem?
I think that we do need to, we do have the libraries come to the schools when kids are in elementary. I'm not sure about middle school and high school, but I think that we want better access for our kids.
I love the fact that we're having this conversation, but I think the agenda topic is the referral tracking list. So I kind of want to get us back on track. But Beverly, those are really good questions. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
No, I'm
Jay?
sorry.
Just a quick historical note, Betty Ann Ryder came to me about this in 2017. So it's been hanging fire since 2017. So these things do take time.
Thank you.
So are we looking to?
So
answer
what should we do with the one card, one community? What should we do that on the referral list?
I think it should stay on until we find out what's happened with it. Whether we have it or not have it. Is it possible or not possible?
Okay. Until it can be completed.
Yeah. Or telling them that it can't be and get a library card.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm turning the page to referral number 9, discussion of the Educational Rising Club.
Right. I brought this to the board's attention. It's a national organization. It's a career and technical student organization. It's intercurricular and it's a learning opportunity for our students and our staff. They provide professional development. And I felt it was something was worth a discussion with the high school about.
Didn't we have some sort of presentation?
We did,
About
but
this,
I
there's
agree
no
with you.
follow-up?
We're actually looking at that. Was a teacher on board, but I think she went on maternity leave, but there was
Yes,
a
she did.
group of teachers who were really looking to see, could that be something that we could even add on for next year?
Yeah.
It's kind of part of your grow your own. So to have more young people at Fitch, and this used to happen years ago, I think, that there was a club for Future Teachers of America,
TAP.
probably was the name.
Yeah.
Teacher
Assistance
assistance program.
Right.
So I'm going to keep that on there, Rita, but I'm just going to put the status report is that until it's completed, and which means until it's a club. And I know that a negotiating team is going to be going into looking at the stipends, and I believe that's when we were going to talk about that, because we have had a discussion on that.
Okay.
Discussion and the evaluation of the magnet theme, which is number 14. Sorry, I'm moving us along.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that last year when we came up with the themes, that we were going to see whether or not the themes get a report on whether or not the themes were working. And so we were going to hear from the schools, I thought, and the superintendent about that.
So that would be a really good summer conversation, don't you think?
Mhm.
That they can close out the year and then we can have discussion about that.
And
Right.
communications, I think, did talk about it. I know I wrote about it in board notes and sent you the new videotapes that were made to give
Yes.
more information to the community. So we could definitely talk to you in the summer and also review the lottery process to see how enticing these themes were. So we can give you data on that.
So discussion of conceptualizing culturally responsive teaching. And that was just to get an update on the CRT, because they had that book club,
But we're not calling it that.
but we're not calling it that because it's not critical race theory. Sorry, it's culturally responsive training. I
Teaching.
apologize, teaching. I apologize.
As part of that discussion, I'd really like to see what it looks like in a classroom. If I was a student, what would it look like on the ground per se?
Okay.
That'd be a good presentation.
That'd be a really good presentation. And actually, I wonder, would that be a good presentation to do at a regular board meeting
Yeah.
where we could have that be shown so that we could show what that means and what that would look like in a classroom?
So we're actually hosting the Northeast Regional DODEA Symposium here in early June, and I'll get you guys the information with a kickoff launch at the Nautilus Museum on Sunday, the 30th, I believe. I got to look at it. But at any rate, one of the things we're presenting on is that culturally responsive teaching. So it's something that certainly we want to bring to the board. But we're also having an open discussion with other DODEA communities about what they see as culturally responsive teaching. It's quite a popular book.
So when do you think we should have this discussion?
When was the last time Jamal came and visited us? Because I don't want to overload him. I think he said he was coming later this month or next month for some
Yeah,
reason.
he and Lori are coming in to talk to you about the internship program and the hiring process through DEI. So they're gonna, talk to you a little bit about that.
Okay,
So
so
we
that's.
could always give you a briefing of where we are with the culturally responsive teaching.
No, I'd like to see it as a separate thing, because I'd
Okay.
really like to see how it happens in the classroom.
And I think that Jamal's coming at the regular board meeting with Lori to talk about those things.
Great.
That's right, end of the month.
Is that minority recruiting? Yeah. And the audit report is going to be in our board meeting in the end of April. I've asked Susan. Jay?
I was just going to say, this is something that is good for that board template because Ken did discuss last year's,
He did.
but Cindy Landry just presented the latest CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, to the town council because it's a combined audit report, and she just transmitted that to them. Anyone who's having trouble sleeping, I'll be happy to send them the 176-page copy to review before the meeting.
Not that tired.
So maybe that goes
so-
to a template because it's.
So you're right. And so when should that go? Should we have it in April?
Well, we're
Yeah, I mean, it's
running out of
been
time in April, we could do it in May.
In May?
Yeah, it's been published. Ken just needs to see what applies to the Board of Ed.
I'm talking about in future years, Jay. Because it is going to be discussed in April.
The law says it has to be released 6 months after the end of the fiscal year. And Cindy looks like historically releases it in February.
Oh. We get the report back. I don't remember getting the report back that early,
Oh, yeah.
but I'll check.
So it could go in March.
That would be perfect.
I believe Ken I asked him about the audit and he gave it, I thought it was last November that we talked about it. They do it over the summer.
The latest was just issued by Cindy Landry, June 18th, 2022.
Mhm.
So we did have a discussion of the guidance counselors. They did give us an overview.
That was you.
That was me. And the discussion of class sizes and the closing of the achievement gap is we are going to have, the goal is for Susan and her secondary staff team to do a larger presentation about what was their success in enrolling more students in the AP and the IB classes, and combine that with what the class sizes are. So that's what we were looking at And it makes sense that we then talk about the achievement gaps. I mean, it could be a really, it would be a heavy but really good COW, I think.
And I see that even as a template item that we should go back to.
Yeah.
You know, especially after courses, the kids have registered and we know what the data looks like. So whether it's in the summer or, you know, once we know.
Rita,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking of this as just a high school and about AP courses and so on. To me, closing the achievement gap starts in elementary school.
yes.
And that's something that we should be discussing from the time that they're very young all the way up, regardless of whatever courses they select in the high school. But I believe we do have an achievement gap starting in our elementary schools, and that's why I thought that was such an important topic. And class size has something to do with it, but that's different. I mean, to me, those are two separate things. Class sizes at the high school, who's enrolling in what classes, but then closing the achievement gap is something that we have to be aware of from when they're, you know, pre-K on up.
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate your level-headed conversation around this. So, but we are going to do the class sizes and looking at the enrollment in the IB and AP. That's
But
one.
that's
One topic. That's one topic. The
That's one
second
topic.
topic would be the achievement gap. And my question is, do we really want to just review it once? Or does that kind of happen also when we get data? We can also be taking a look at how we're doing on the achievement gap. Does that get embedded into the data?
Well, I think we did say we're going to disaggregate the data. We want to look at that with everything that we do.
So maybe that one's ongoing.
So that's an ongoing one, but maybe it goes off and goes on to the month, the template, the year template, along with data, that we have data / achievement gap discussion.
I think that's important, but not, we can't throw everything on the template. The reason that was put on there, I believe, the achievement gap was that it was because of COVID and how students fell far behind. And, you know, we have to know whether or not, do we need more tutoring? What is going to help our students close this achievement gap? So I think, to me, that's a whole separate, I'm thinking of it in a different way and not just something that's reported out on when we, you know, when they do testing.
Kat,
I seem to remember the elementary schools, the middle school, and the high school coming in at some point and talking about the school specific, what their goals are, things like that. I can't remember because it was several years ago. Would achievement gap, I want to say that was touched on briefly, and the plans they had to work on that. Does anyone else remember that? I
Yes.
mean, with that,
yeah, we used to have that, and I think COVID kind of took that away.
Okay.
But I think we need to bring that back. That makes a lot of sense, and maybe that's a delivery method that Susan and her staff can do when they give us the data, and we can look at the achievement. But Rita, once again, thank you for your help, because what I'm hearing you say is that not only is it a template issue where we need to make sure that we're discussing, but we should be really looking at how are we doing right now,
Right.
Specifically in the era of a pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe, so am I making sense that we put the achievement gap as part of the data that goes to our template, end of sentence, but that we make this referral item that's on this referral list about COVID specific?
No.
No,
Okay,
I think it's ongoing.
The ongoing.
No, I
it's
think-
ongoing? Okay,
it's on the template for sure.
all right. It's on the template, but we're going to keep it ongoing. But we should be hearing, maybe in the summer, would we be hearing information about what Groton kids look like after 2 years of a pandemic?
Yeah, we can absolutely show some things.
Okay. I'm going to recognize Matthew and then Kat.
The comment that I have with regard having something this summer on the achievement gap is that if something comes out, there's probably not enough time to get any response by September. I know we may not have all the data we need, but I would favor having an earlier discussion rather than a later discussion. We have strategic goals and we'll have tactical goals. And while we may not completely flesh out the strategic goals, we may come across something where a tactical response is useful. I'd like the discussion earlier if you agree.
Kat?
Along the lines of what Matthew said, I'm wondering if it might be useful to have this achievement gap conversation twice a year so that we can see progress in a shorter burst.
Maybe in like September, when we start, where are our kids starting? And then in January or February, where they, or even at the, after the major testing is done, or, you know, or whichever benchmarks we look at in the second semester. So that's what I was going to say is, where are we starting? And then where do we end up?
Yeah.
So twice a year would be good.
And always include previous years
Yep.
data so we can see if there's any, so we can compare and see all that information.
Friends.
So what I hear is biannual makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, super. And then discussion of the second MSAP grant. I think we've had that, have we not?
Well, I can keep briefing you where we're at in the process. It's quite a process.
Yeah. I don't think it should be on our referral list personally.
No.
Now, so how about if we take it out and she can keep us updated through board notes?
Perfect. Or no, even at a board meeting, but I mean, not just board notes, but public needs to hear it also.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, but just keep it. If you've noticed, I've tried to put things in board notes prior to presenting them at a meeting.
Yes.
So you kind of have the background information so that then there can be better discussion, I think.
Mhm.
And discussion of career pathways.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about what those are specifically.
And we do have a career pathway counselor who's focusing on that. We actually have 1.5. So we have someone who's really paying attention to that can come to you. Chelsea Courtwright, she used to be at Cutler and now is at Groton Middle School and moving towards the high school to help out.
So is this something that would be a one-shot deal, or is this, because that's my thought, is like, is this just like a report out one time, or just something that's reviewed on an annual basis?
It could be annual or biannual to see progress being made, because we're really trying to make sure our families understand and our kids understand what are the pathways before they go to sign up for classes.
Biannual?
So biannual, guys?
Yep.
All right.
It's like everybody's kind of.
And so the discussion on minority recruitment, Katrina, that's going to be happening in April.
I was actually gonna suggest taking it off the list because that was my referral, and I think through smaller conversations we've had that my questions have all been answered.
And then do we need to have the discussion of placing visitors who attend Board of Ed meetings early on the agenda? That just needs I just think that myself and I take full responsibility for the last committee of the whole. That was my bad. But I just think that if maybe all of us can be cognizant if that we have a visitor and the chairperson is not picking that up, to make a suggestion of an agenda item being moved around. Beverly?
I like to see minority recruitment stay on the agenda. I hear Katrina talk about small group discussions. I wasn't part of those discussions. I don't know what you're talking about. So I like to see it stay on.
And we are going to be talking about that in April. But I think you're right. I think that is something.
I think we also discussed having DEI on the template several times a year, and that would include minority recruitment and include, you know, the discussion on culturally responsive teaching. So it would include several other bullet items underneath the committee's work. So that would certainly be something that we would go back to.
Just to answer Bev's question, we've had conversations about several things having to do with our minority recruitment, achievement, things like that in the Board of Ed Committee of the Whole meetings. That's what I was referring to.
Well, personally, I don't remember any of that. So if we could just keep it on the agenda, and I'd be happy to hear what the administration has to say in April.
Okay.
Thank you. Beverly, will it be okay if it goes underneath the template under DEI and we bullet that out?
Well, can we first have the discussion in April, and then you could put it under the template?
Sure.
Sure, no, absolutely. That's already a done deal. Andrea? I can't hear you, Andrea.
Sorry, thank you. Beverly asked my question before I did, and that I strongly urge that we keep that minority recruitment in discussion. And I don't care whether it's on this list or it's on another list. It's as long as it's attended to and reviewed frequently, if not on an ongoing basis. That's where I am.
Maybe keeping it as an annual review.
Annual? No, that is
No.
this. I would say it. Did I do it again? No. I would say even on a monthly basis, just that's something that we need to ensure happens.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And usually Lori comes to the board in September and does let us know how many teachers were hired, how many minorities. So we do usually have this discussion, but I agree. I think it should be ongoing and kept in the forefront.
Thank you. Thank you, Rita.
I was gonna say,
Oh, can I just say one more thing? Because it's not only about how many we hire, it's how many are we retaining? Because,
true, too.
so she could come in September and say we hired 30 people, minorities, but maybe 15 of them left.
Right.
well, my question is our discussion should probably track the typical flow in and out of faculty. So if things change typically on a month-to-month basis, then fine, talk about it month-to-month. If it's on an annual basis, then do that. If it's a quarterly, I don't know. Lori would know best.
I'll talk to Lori.
It's a
I
good
just don't
question.
want to have an agenda item for the sake of having the item.
And not have it be
Wanna-
useful.
Because it's it's gotta be something useful.
Can
Yeah.
I'm going to recognize Liz and then you, Rita.
That just what Dean just said kind of brought to me an idea. It was like just minority recruitment, but also just issues with, with staffing. I just found out that one of the social studies teachers at the high school left to go start his own business. I had no clue this happened, and so I think we need to be, I think as we go through, it's not only just minority recruitment, but just what's happening with our staffs that we're made aware of. And I'd like to see that, maybe piggybacked on that, just an update about staffing with focus on, minority recruitment and, current issues. And I know that we do that, you do that, like, well, we're down this many,
Yeah.
paras and this type of stuff, but I think that needs to be on this list.
Rita,
Oh, I was just gonna say, Lori conducts exit interviews for the teachers who leave and some of the reasons why. I would love to have a little of that information to understand why someone would leave the district, whether it was a minority or whatever, maybe that would help us address how to retain some of our staff better. Because not all staff, I think, they don't have to do an exit interview, but it's strongly encouraged.
Yeah, it is encouraged.
I just don't want the minority recruitment to be watered down.
No,
if we're
no.
also
This
looking
has
at
nothing to
staff.
do with that. This is just something to do with, I would like to know why some of our teachers are leaving.
I actually, Rita, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was actually just adding another part to that
Okay.
sentence, which is I just want to make sure that we don't lose focus on that.
Right.
Andrea?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to something that Dean said. And I think that if there's nothing to discuss, the item should still be on the agenda, and there, you could just say there's nothing to discuss, and that would take care of that problem.
All right,
That
and so
makes
the
sense.
last one, I didn't hear back from anyone, but I don't feel like we need to have this on a referral tracking sheet, which is moving visitors. I think that can be taken off, and we just need to do a much better job at kicking me under the table.
Or even setting the agenda, so if we know that staff is coming in, they go first or
Right.
something.
Okay, so
I have a
so-
referral.
I'm sorry, what?
I have a referral when we get to that for finance and facilities.
Okay, so that's my question. Are we going to review the policy and the curriculum and the finance and facilities? Are we going to have that be done in the individual committees?
And can anybody refer if they write to you a referral?
Yes.
So a referral could be written at any time by board members just by sending it to Kim in writing.
I thought we were gonna have that done by individual committees. I thought that's how we started off saying, well, we didn't start off that way, but shortly
Beverly,
afterwards, we got there.
I agree. I just want to make sure, because I heard Rita saying that she wants to make a referral to finance and facilities. So I just wanted to make sure that I was on the same page. Kat, were you waving to
Yes.
me or?
Yeah, I was saying good evening, but also I just wanted to this point out on the policy development or policy 22. I think that's supposed to be non-resident students. Is that correct?
That would make sense.
Okay. And then
That might just be what is required when a student comes in to register.
I don't know. That was not my referral. I was just pointing out the typo.
Might not be a typo. It could be for any student who comes to Groton and comes to enroll, what are the requirements that they need to bring,
Okay.
for admissions?
And I also thought it was that that there were a lot of students enrolling in Groton schools that didn't really live in Groton. I thought that's what that had to do with.
I think Rita, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I don't think it was around a policy. I think Jay brought that up in terms of because there was a lot of information in the news about was it Norwich schools, Norwich
Yes.
School District that was going after families who were attending Norwich schools but were not registered
Well, and I
as a
think it
town.
was for out of town placements, which were very expensive. But I feel like our business office really has a handle on who those people are.
Do we not discuss the cost of an out-of-district student? And could this be addressed when we have that discussion? What are
Tuition?
along with the tuition, how do we verify that a student? I don't know. I think there's a little
That's
more.
why I think this policy is so important, that we really make sure that people have proof of residency.
Yeah, I think
And
that's,
what's all that required when they go to enroll, and then how often do we verify that then over time?
with that, I don't know who made that referral. I think they should speak to it.
Okay.
But now that Andrea, she's the chairperson of the policy, she can pay attention and to see where the importance of, you do your agenda, right? So you can kind of take a look at that. If there's no other discussion, I was going to go to Rita.
Yes, I would like to, for finance and facilities, I believe our bus contract is coming to a close. And I would like to know what the board involvement would be, whether or not new bus contract would be under finance and facilities. I seem to remember that in the past, that's what happened. The 5 years ago when it was done, the board had no involvement. In the past, we had involvement. So I just wanted to know, like, that should be a referral or not for the new bus contract.
I remember several committee of the whole meeting when 5 years ago, when we were going over the bus contract. But
Well,
I don't think,
we
I don't
weren't
think that we,
involved in it. It was just presented to us. I believe it was done not with any board involvement at all.
So there is a bid process in the town that we have to follow, and a policy. So I think even to have a discussion around that, Rita, so we know the process and understand
Right.
that clearly.
Yes, there is a bid process. Yep.
so would
But I
that be,
still think someone from the board should be involved in this contract because it is a Board of Education contract. And last time we were not involved in it.
So is that something that should be a subcommittee of negotiations?
I'm not sure if it should go under, I thought it went under finance and facilities in the past.
I
And they
think it
review
needs,
things.
I think it needs to be at least embedded into the finance and facilities committee,
Yeah.
would be my thought process.
And it could certainly be discussed with the board.
Right. Beverly?
Oh, no, I was thinking that it should go with negotiations because that's what that committee does, but that's okay.
No, that makes sense too.
I think that,
Right.
I'll have to just check.
Yeah,
with
I think we
Floyd.
just need to, I think just Susan's gonna check with Floyd just for clarification about board involvement in negotiation of contracts with bus, about the bus, and she'll get back to us on that, all right?
Yes.
Okay, so Rita, do you still want that in finance and facilities? I mean, how do you, what do you
I
want to
think
do
we
with that
should
topic?
hear it first from Susan and then we can talk about it.
Is
Okay.
perfect, thank you. And also, we did the review of Treehouse Finances, which is the our 2021-22. So I feel like that agenda item has been taken care of, so I'm taking that off.
Can we go back just a moment to the contract item?
Yes,
I think it's kind of an amorphous. I think there are elements of the contract that are clearly a contract and therefore in finance. But since there are salaries involved, I know that these people are the employees of the bus company,
Mhm.
but I do think we should have a seat at the table on the remuneration to the bus drivers, bus people. Particularly based on some feedback I got from some bus drivers about
I don't think
about
that
practices.
I don't think that is in our purview at all, Matthew. But I think
Okay.
that, I just don't think it's in our purview.
But I do think that all has to do with choosing a bus company and then
Right.
hearing from them how they pay their employees.
So
But
That's why it
it's
goes
a
up to
selection of the bus company that's important.
Rita, your point is incredibly
Thank you,
valid on
Rita.
that.
Thank you, Rita. I think she expressed it far better than I.
Beverly?
Kim, we never did vote on the increases for the treehouse program.
I think we did, Bev.
I think it was on the agenda and we discussed it. I don't remember voting, but maybe we did and I just don't remember.
I'll have Joyce look into that, Beth.
If we haven't, Bev, then obviously it's going to go back, but unless I'm starting to have dreams about regular Board of Ed meetings, I really thought that we had that on an agenda topic. And then we would have something very worrisome
Yeah,
about
we
that.
had it on the agenda, but I don't think we voted on it. You can ask Jay, because I asked Jay how come we didn't vote and he didn't say we voted. So, but you can check that with Jay.
Okay, thank you.
And Kim, my second one under finance, review, purchase of vans to transport special education students. That was when I heard at a Learn meeting, Stonington purchased vans to transport their special, and they have saved quite a bit of money. So that's why that was on there.
Okay.
That's what that refers to, was the districts that have purchased vans. Now, we may have many more special education students in Stonington, and we're a bigger district, and it might not be, a reasonable investment, but that's what it was about.
Okay, thank you.
I had put on there the review, the cost of bus monitors. I think we've already gone through that, so I think that can be, because that's, I think that was through the bus company.
Mhm.
And that had already been addressed by the bus company, so I think we can remove that.
And we've also added to our
Kim.
minimum wage for our bus aides
Right.
too.
Well, I feel like this was good work, folks. It was
We've
tedious,
been
but
wanting to
really
do
good.
this.
But what
Good
does
work.
the last one under finance have to do with?
Review the use of PayPal.
Because I think that there was, Jay, can you, I don't know, I believe that was, it was brought on by the student rep because they were wanting to see if they could do fundraising, quick fundraising at the at the high school
Mhm.
using PayPal.
But that's something that Ken could brief us on, because I feel like they did find a way to get that, so donations kind of. So he might have even written about it in a board note, so I'll find out from Ken.
Pat,
Can I suggest some items that I'm wondering if they could be placed on the meeting template?
The meeting template.
yeah, sure.
Could we have a review in, let's see, November or December before we start budget review and before the superintendent presents her budget, about any grants that are closing that would require staffing, to include how many staff members, what programs, if they would be a permanent hire or a short-term hire, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a good place to put it.
Great. Also, I'd like to see the superintendent's evaluation put on the board template.
Good idea.
I'd also like to see a board self-evaluation, be that, or put on the template, be that COW or retreat, whatever. I think that we let those slip.
Excuse me, Kat,
Yes.
that's under the regular board meeting in July. Are you asking to have it placed under the COW at some other point?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's now on the regular Board of Ed
Yes.
in July. And I'm
Yes.
asking whether you want it prior to that.
I don't think a regular board meeting is is the correct place for it. I think that there needs to be more of an in-depth evaluation for the board itself, and it's not appropriate for a regular Board of Education meeting.
That's staffing. So that would be done in a special or a.
But somehow,
Staffing.
but somehow, to your point, Kat, we have to be able to get it recognized so it doesn't leave our consciousness. And so I
Exactly.
don't, and so you're right, it's not a clean fit in a committee of the whole, and definitely not a clean fit in a board of, in a regular board meeting.
Yes.
So I am agreement on that. And I'm wondering, do we then have a list that's down on the other side of this sheet? You probably can't see me, that says, yearly in July, Board of Ed and Superintendent eval, so that it's there, because it doesn't fit a regular meeting.
Well, we usually do have a special meeting for the superintendent evaluation, from what I remember.
Right, but it's a special meeting. It's not a committee of the whole or Board of Ed, but we can throw it in a committee of the whole, and that whoever is the chair knows that needs to be, that there's a process with that.
Yes.
So we could slide it from the regular Board of Ed meeting and slide it to the committee of the whole. Is that correct?
Any way you want to do it, as long as it's on a list. But what you're saying does make sense.
Okay. So
And I
done.
believe it in July where it says board evaluation, it should be board self-evaluation.
That's correct. Thank you.
And I know at Learn, the superintendent or the director, she does it twice a year. I mean, she gives us in January a review from, let's say, September through January about her goals and how she's achieving them. And then in June is when we do the evaluation and for the superintendent, and she presents, it's a written document that the board members receive. So that doesn't have anything to do with this template, but we should have it someplace.
Like a mid-year.
Like a mid-year?
Here, and then June is when we actually work on the evaluation of the superintendent. And the reason why it's in July is because it's reported to the paper.
I'm wondering if we could just align it with the contract signing date. So it's yearly.
Yeah.
And I believe for Susan, that's June.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, these are all growth opportunities, and I think we're missing out if we don't regularly do these things.
Are you talking about the referral tracking lists and stuff?
No.
No, I'm talking about the evaluations.
Yeah, no, we need to, yeah, we need to be, yes. I don't need to finish a sentence on that, yes.
And I
Beverly?
would,
Okay, go ahead. Katrina.
I would just, this is off topic a little, but I would suggest that inevitably before the superintendent's evaluation, it gets reviewed. I would suggest that we do not change the evaluation from year to year. That is not fair to the superintendent. It's like moving the goalpost.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't know that there was a plan to
change
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
No, there is not a plan to do that. It's
Okay.
just happened in the
You're just
past.
making a statement. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right. You guys, nice work. Beverly, I owe you an apology. I just pulled out our regular Board of Ed meeting agenda, and it is not on, it's the treehouse is not on. We had a discussion about it, but we did not have a vote on it. So Beverly, I stand corrected and I apologize, and I will make sure that it gets into the April agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, Kim, that's why I had my hand up a while ago, is Beverly was correct. It wasn't on the agenda or in the minutes.
Yep,
So,
yep, and I stand corrected. I'm sorry. Any further conversation? Matthew,
Are we on number 6 or are we still on number 3?
suggested future topics. We kind of morphed into that.
Okay, so I found the open house at Catherine Kanowski to be a very good experience for me. Having a tour with Miss Dauphiné, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, was really lovely. And I've heard that in the past, the superintendent had regular visits for board members, to which board members were invited. And I would love this to begin again. I'm also told in the past they kind of had an adopt a school program with board members, but whatever I can learn about what's actually going on in the individual schools, the better board member I'll be. So however you choose to structure it, I look forward to that.
Okay, so if Susan has her walkabouts, do you want, I mean,
Yeah. I
is
can let
that,
you know.
is that what you're talking about? Or do you want the board to talk about how we can become more individual? I mean, more,
No,
more,
I'm not trying to hurt the board in any direction. I'm just saying I would like the opportunity to get in the schools as much as is appropriate in whatever way you guys want. But it's been 4 months and there are numbers of schools I've never been to. I'm deficient, not because I'm bad, but because I'm the only one who hasn't been around before.
okay. Well, yeah, COVID has really not helped any of us around that stuff,
Yeah.
but you're right. So Susan, I think we'll just
Yep.
find a mechanism to let the board know when she's going to be doing her walkabouts, and those of us who can join. And maybe if there's so many people all at once, maybe she's gonna have to kind of
Right.
parcel that out, but I'm gonna let Susan do that.
It might
Thank you
help
so
if
much.
there's a particular school you haven't been to and you
I
want to
can
go
I can
see,
I
if
can
you
send
let
you
me
I can send
know.
you an email. I'll send you an
Thank
email.
you. Send me an email because Phil and I do our walkthroughs in every school every month. And then we also do our private visits with the principals as part of evaluation. So, I can certainly, upon what your request is, and maybe you have a couple of schools you want to see.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Matt.
And Kim,
And-
there was a process at one time when board members could visit a school at any time, you just needed to contact the school to let them know you were going to come in. I think that's the most important thing, not just show up at a school, but to contact the principal and say, I'd like to go in the building. Maybe I want to observe an art class or music class. But I think it's extremely important as a courtesy to always let the principal of the school know that you'd like to visit.
And also the superintendent.
Well, that was a discussion we had, that one superintendent made us do that first, and didn't always let us go and visit the school. So I purposely did not say the superintendent for that reason. We were discouraged from visiting.
Dean, can you tap? I have Andrea and then Kat.
Kim, I have two things. The first thing is the superintendent's evaluation. I know you and I have had several conversations about that, but I'd like to get it started. So if you and I could get together this week, that would be a great thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is just, this is kind of a little insight in for Matthew. Matthew, even when I go to a school just to drop something off, when I'm dropping it off at the office, I say to the secretary, please let the principal know that I'm here or that I've been here. So just always keep the principal first in your mind and make sure that the principal knows that you were even in the building just dropping something off.
I
Oh,
do that as
The
superintendent.
captain needs to be respected.
Kat,
Thank you.
Kat,
I just wanted to say there is a policy in the board member handbook that has not been followed, so we will be reviewing that as well when we look at the rules.
Thank you.
all right. Anything else? Andrea,
So how could I have let that go? Motion to
Yeah.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn.
do I have a second?
Jay seconded.
All right.
Have a great,
those in
have a
favor,
great
say aye.
Easter.
Bye.
Bye.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Happy Easter, happy vacation.